when I first got to Seattle, I thought they were trying to trick me because they were playing music and they had a basketball hoop in the meeting room, and I just never seen anything like it. The fans and I guess the atmosphere from the 12th man were, man, it was unlike anything. It was very similar to college football. They have a really good fan base, they're super supportive of the team, and you know, they were super welcoming to me. And then to win was just like this culmination of like everything, just like, it didn't seem realistic to me. Like to be where I'm from, to do 2 national championships, into the Super Bowl, I'm like, I think what meant the most was that was Seattle's first Super Bowl ever. And obviously with the late Paul Allen being the owner of the team, like it was sort of kind of not perfect timing, but it just worked out to be a really big win for the whole state. I think having national championship rings and Super Bowl rings, they do very similar things. I think, especially in the U.S., there's a lot more respect and I would say, you know, awe around having them and being able to achieve them or being involved with them. I joke about it and say I got really good range between the lowest lows and the highest highs. I've filled the gap in between that pretty good. You know, I remember the doctor, his name is John Gore, oncologist from the University of Washington, great guy, and had a pretty recognizable voice. And I remember I picked up the phone call. He called me and said, I got good and bad news. I said, man, all right, start with the bad. And he said, it's definitely cancer. It's stage 3 or 4, type 2 renal carcinoma of the kidney. And it's pretty much crushing your kidney, and it's sort of spreading as fast as it can. And he said, the good news is we can do surgery in 3 days. And I said, okay. And then that was the whole conversation. I hung up, I said, all right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. And I just remember, I was the only one not crying in my family. You know, I was, at that point in my life, I was the baddest man I could come across. From there, it was like, okay, this is what the challenge is now. And I was lucky enough that Seattle just like stood by me the whole time. You know, John Schneider, the GM, and Coach Carroll, they were the first to, you know, to the bedside and like, let's tackle this. You know, I had my kidney removed and I was supposed to be in there for 5 days, and by the time my parents got to me the next morning, I was ready to go. I was packed up, dressed, everything. I don't really look back at it, to be honest, too much. I think for me, it was just a part of my life. Football, you know, I'll always be in debt to football. It was a ticket for me to get out of where I was and create an amazing life for myself and my family and be able to do things that no one ever expected a young kid from the South Side was ever going to do. And I think for me, football was just a starting point for me to continue growing from there. But it was, man, I couldn't write a better story of what my career would look like, obviously, besides the end. But, you know, I tell people all the time, if my life is this long, football is this, you know, I got to at least use a lot of the stuff from football to try and fill the rest of the gaps. I got a lot more to go.